I think that's pretty good.
That's good.
That's good.
Look at that.
I'm trying to be like, they're doing the countdown, and Matt's like, nah, we're doing this.
Now we're doing this.
Barely through with that sentence.
We're talking Ditko today, everybody.
Woo!
Woo!
You're all loopy.
Gen
and
Con
we're
was a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, Gen Con was, how do the millennials say it? Extra?
Yeah.
Hey, good, a millennial off camera is nodding yes. So.
Our reference millennial, thank you.
Yes, our
reference millennial.
Our millennial intern. Anyway, hi everybody, Matt Key here.
I'm Amy Dallen.
I'm Taliesin Jaffe.
Taliesin Jaffe.
Yeah.
It's like an instinct now. Sorry,
Yeah.
you introduced yourself, so my brain was like, I say my name now.
It's Pavlovian.
This is what we do on the internet. We met a lot of you at Gen Con.
Oh my
Thank
God.
you, Daisies. I should put
daisies.
my badge in so I could show off my badge stripe.
I got my pin. I didn't bring it in with me because
You're a daisy pin from Librarian Liz?
I'm very tired and I didn't bring my daisy pin in because I'm very tired.
Mine's on my denim jacket, and there it shall reside forever.
What was that voice? That was wonderful.
Thank you.
There it shall reside forever.
There shall reside forever.
Welcome to the Wednesday Club.
Welcome to the Wednesday Club.
We shall talk to you of Steve Ditko. The long-awaited tribute.
You sound like a retired Bond villain at this point.
Yeah.
Let's talk to you about Steve Ditko. Let me talk to you of the miracle of Steve Ditko. Anyway, hi. It was nice to meet you all at Gen Con. Overwhelmingly humbling, like in a great way, to be like, oh, there are fans for this.
Y'all are watching?
Yeah.
That's cool.
The way I tried to talk to it was, it's nice to see, because the three of us just sit down in a comfy chair in an uncomfortable metal bar that's dressed to look like a couch.
While other people that you can't see frantically run around in the back trying to make, there's a constant basically living game of Mousetrap the LARP.
Yeah.
There's a ladder at a 45-degree angle right now.
It's currently
We
flying gently
believe in
through
you,
the air.
ladder.
Oh wow, that was amazing.
But it is interesting to be like, we're talking comics and we assume that people are watching this, but we don't know. And then to be at Gen Con and be like, oh, these are the people watching this. Oh, there's a lot of you and you're all wonderful. You're all wonderful, and so many came. I was working at the Critical Role booth, and so many people came by and just chatted every day, and it was so nice. I was like, oh, this is the club.
I like that everyone was meeting at our booth. It made me very happy.
It was really nice to have kind of a centralized meeting place, and it was
real great, y'all. But that is
great.
not the only tangible evidence we have that our Wednesdays are real. And I don't know if it is that time, but I offered that up as a potential segue in case we wanted to do some Daily Wednesday.
For Dark Elf producer Liz Santos, Daily Wednesday.
Producer Liz, all I can guess is that she is celebrating the new rebirth of the Horde in World of Warcraft with your dark goth energy. It's so amazing.
Now, I know some of you are watching going, let's get to the GD comic books. We're gonna. I said GD. I'm allowed to say that, right?
You're
Get to that GD Ditko.
abbreviating the first half. It says so much about your upbringing.
But we will. But we finally got a chance to go to our PO box, our PO box, and there's a lot. So we're gonna go through it.
All right.
But we are gonna get to comics, promise. So, do we have a? I don't want to look. Here. Okay.
Oh my God! Calligraphy.
Okay. So this is. Oh my God! It's calligraphy. So this
Right?
is Amy. This is to Taliesin.
Oh, my name
Who
is
did this?
Matt.
Beautiful.
That's so lovely. Look at that.
Oh, okay. I forgot what this was.
Look at the letters. Look at the way that they're gently eaten into on the sides. Oh.
You guys should open it up and look.
All right.
I'm not gonna reveal until you've seen yours.
What? What?
What?
Oh my God.
Oh my gosh.
All right, are we showing?
Show it.
Look at that.
Yours is green.
That's amazing.
Mine is black, like most of my shirts. I love it.
Oh my
They've
God.
actually designed them to different things that we might be likely to wear.
Oh, that's so
Oh
fantastic.
my God, they're beautiful.
Oh, so pretty. Thank you.
Oh, yeah?
It's when Mary Shelley invented Frankenstein.
Hold my
Yeah.
Like, we're
Hold
going
my
to tell
absinthe.
scary stories. She was like,
That was the Bernie Wrightson episode, yeah?
Oh, wow.
Frankenstein?
Chat,
knows. Oh.
I know it's Mary Shelley.
We're already getting what's in the box, which
this?
makes me. Oh.
Is this a...
I've got some collage
Do I
art.
have to
I'm
break
very
this to
excited.
open it? I don't want to do that.
Well, that's obviously holding something special. Oh, wow.
What do you have? What do you have?
This is beautiful.
Yes, I do need to unwrap it.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh.
Oh, hold on. There's a letter. Hold on. Let's read this letter. Dear Taliesin, Matt, and Amy.
Hello.
Should I read this with an accent? I don't know. Let's see.
Waver in and out.
Yeah. What's that?
Be fancy with it. You got fancy.
It's very fancy.
It's been about 2.5 months since you read my letter, showed my art on air for the first time ever, and I asked you which superhero you would be portrayed as for Black Panther episode. It has taken much longer than I would have liked to get these to you, although the innovating time has been extremely eventful. After rewatching that episode a couple times and having a semi-public breakdown, I realized that those bad brain days I spoke of were outnumbering the good by an unhealthy margin. Gonna drop the voice. All of you have been so open about your mental health struggles that instead of turning further inward, I took your example and the support of the Discord Wednesdaisies and went back to therapy for the first time since my childhood. I am an adult now, 37 on April 27th.
Happy late birthday!
Da, 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 da.
Birthday.
So we are also exploring medication to help balance my brain chemistry for the first time in my life. It's helping with my anxiety around groups.
Yes.
If this were the only thing I had gained from the Wednesday Club, and you, the hosts, the gifts contained in your packets, would still be a paltry pittance compared to the gratitude I feel. To simply say thank you seems truly inadequate. I wish I could sit down and grok with the three of you for hours, but I digress. When Taliesin chose Madrox, it guaranteed that he would get the most portraits out of everyone, so I decided to include multiple characters on everyone's piece. Tal is Madrox and Quentin Quire. Matt is Nightcrawler and Doctor Strange, plus his lovely wife Brittany as Squirrel Girl. Everybody drink. Water. Stay hydrated.
Don't read mine. I want to show it.
Okay.
Although if there's more than one, that's a separate thing. Hold on. I can do this.
You need help? Are you all right? I have fingers.
I'm trying to be very careful.
There. Yeah.
Oh my God, that is amazing. Oh my God, look at how pretty the purple. Oh, I love it.
So
I should have
wonderful.
opened mine too. She drew my lovely wife Brittany.
It's
God, this is real. Oh my God, this is amazing. Okay, hold on. And you showed yours off, yeah?
Oh yeah. It's got a very. It's actually making me think of the indie comics and zines I read as a kid back when zines were like. It's got that classic late '70s underground vibe.
Oh, that is.
I kind of makes me want to do an episode on late '70s underground comics.
All
Tell
these
us-
references included. It's
I
amazing.
know, it's so cool.
Matt is Nightcrawler and Doctor Strange, plus his lovely wife Brittany as Squirrel Girl. Everybody drink, but drink water. Here's mine, right here.
Yes.
Yes.
And there's Brittany up in the corner. I love it. Oh my God.
I like that you have the funky Doctor Strange pose.
Yeah,
It's the funky Strange.
The best Strange. Amy is Galactus and Squirrel Girl, and this
Side
was
by
my
side.
very first time drawing a spacesuit. I hope I did it justice. I've also included a Mollymock graphite piece for Taliesin because why send multiple
It's
packages?
beautiful.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, here it's again like they sent color and black and white. Although I am a sucker for fine detail black and white. So
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
so like there we are.
Oh my goodness.
Look at that.
Oh my goodness, the coat.
I know. Thank you for making an
talent.
even more complicated coat that would.
All right, let me finish up the letter.
Oh, it's got the right symbols in the thing too. Oh, that's.
I chose the style of the enclosed t-shirts based on what I've seen you wearing. If you want a different shirt style or they don't fit, I've included the order info so they can do an exchange if need be. If you need any other info or for an exchange, want a high-res copy of the color flats, or even just want to send someone a random article picture of a bog mummy, because those things are fascinating, please feel free to contact me. Finally, Matt, Amy, and Taliesin, I do have a favor to ask of you and all the Wednesdaisies. Like at Grey Angel, the Wednesday Club has inspired me to start creating my own comic. I'm calling it Still Becoming. My plan is to release each inked page as I finish it on my Patreon, Taylor J. Arts, and possibly even submit to Comixology once I have enough pages for an issue. I'd like for all of you to be people outside myself that I'm responsible to for continuing to work on it. I've included a photocopy of the pencil thumbnails with dialogue that I've done so far. There is so much more that I could say, but I've already carried on for for longer than I should. I'll end it here so you can carry on with the show. And then here is the.
Ooh.
Oh my God.
And
that's from Taylor.
Yes.
I was trying to.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. I was trying to remember what show. There was a show I used to watch as a child or teenager that used to end with "Work on your art." That was kind of their sign off. Was have a good day. Have a wonderful week. Work on your art. It's kind of one of their like the little. I'm trying to remember what show it was, but it always made me very happy and like I was out there actually accomplishing something.
Oh, well, this is a lovely, wonderful gift. Thank you so much, Taylor. Oh, thank you, Liz. That's your song when you come in now, is me doing a monk chat.
Yeah.
It's the hood.
Ooh.
I know. I'm very excited about the shirt.
Ooh, what is this? Ooh. Oh, this is fun. All right. Do you want to read and bestow?
Dear Taliesin, Amy, and Matt, if you'd like to read this on air, you may. I used to read comics and manga there are 4 A's years ago in high school, and now that I'm 31, I found them again, thanks to you guys. I started watching your show when I was finally finding out which medicines helped my depression the best. And in scrolling through Alpha to make use of my sub, I found your show. After a few episodes, I remember thinking, I used to love comics just like they do. I should read them again. And signed up for Comixology that night and started with Harrow County, then Wictive, and moved back into Fables and back into Sandman and so on. And now I tune in every Wednesday night to make sure I watch. I truly believe that this has pulled me further out of the many, many years old pit I dug myself into. The art of comics inspired me to get back into my passion of photography. It sparked me to remember all those stories I wanted to write, and it's made me feel so much closer to the person I really am than I have in years. One of the things that I was inspired to make is a mock-up of a Wednesday Club approved stamp like your logo. Now, I am by no means an artist. I can't draw to save my life. But Photoshop, which I'm good at, is unavailable to me, so I drew it.
I can hold it at an angle where it actually show up. There we are.
Give the horrible art, says the letter. I don't agree, but I hope you get the idea of what I was going for.
Yes, we very much get the idea.
Oh, it's beautiful, and
Stamp
you made
with
a
a stamp.
rainbow.
Yeah, it's how we have to do ours now.
Special shout-outs to Amy for the proof that women can have just as much of a place as men in this seemingly male-dominated fandom. Like I've said, we've always been here. We were just outnumbered. And her unbridled utter enthusiasm and joy is one of the best things to watch. I love her reactions and her immense base of knowledge. To Matt for the special views he brings to the show, for his unfettered love for his lovely wife, Brittany, and for the way he listens to opposing opinions in a respectful way. And I'm forever in awe of how his brain works. Plus, Key Question was amazing, and I want more. Give us more. Hold on, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 O's.
Yes.
To Taliesin for being so open about struggling with mental illness, for his amazing laugh and his utter joy in the comics he shares with us, for making it okay to be fascinated with suspense and horror and morbidity without being ashamed, for bringing creativity and love to everything he does, and for his ever-changing amazing hair colors, for showing that it's okay to be just utterly yourself as you can be. Okay, I've gushed enough. Just know that you three are loved and helping many people. Sincerely, Allie at Strawberry Bedhead on Alpha. And there's a photography Instagram at Through My Lens Darkly. That sounds fantastic. And P.S. I know Taliesin has an appreciation for graveyards like I do, so I included one of my favorite pictures I've taken at one, a statue.
Ooh, this looks like one of the ones over at Santa Monica Cemetery that I love so much.
Gorgeous. Look at that light.
Yeah.
Shut up.
There we are.
Thank you so much, Allie.
Thank you, Allie. Liz, we have time for one more?
One more.
Yeah?
Yay.
All right. Give that one to Taliesin.
Okay. Yes.
That's Liz's song.
The monks are going to sue us.
Oh, this is kind of an art project.
Ooh.
This is okay. This has been sandwiched apparently. That's right. Okay. Let's. Daisy Doilies for the Adult AF Wednesday Club from Karin at never_really. One underscore on Reddit, 2 on Twitter. We have a doily. It's a daisy doily.
It's beautiful.
Amy, Matt, and Taliesin, thank you. I gave up comics to be more adult, but your show has reminded me that I love comics. Yes, this is very good. Ooh, I really like this one. Check this out. Let go. There we are. Further, Your discussions have shown me that comics are adult. Comics make many difficult emotional topics easier to process internally. I agree. Ooh, we have another. The shared experiences and commonality comics provide us all is priceless, and so are the three of you. Oh, we're getting fancy. There we are. And this one, and that's the end of it. So the three of you, they tricked me with unless there's like invisible ink. I don't know why holding. I thought the T might make the ink appear. I don't know why. It just seemed to make sense.
Please send us coded messages.
There we go with a big purple daisy, because that's the way.
Gorgeous.
We have doilies?
We have doilies.
We have daisy doilies?
Daisy doilies.
Oh, I'm so excited.
I'm going to use a doily right now.
Oh, man, I'm here. Do you want this one, Amy?
They're all good.
They're all good. We can keep switching. We'll switch.
We'll just switch throughout the whole show.
That looks good under your mug.
Thank you. Oh, this is so exciting.
Doilies are fantastic.
Oh, who's that from?
That was from,
Never really?
Never really. Never underscore really.
Oh, that is so nice.
Thank you so much.
We got shirts. We got a really cool painting. Oh my goodness, this is
Thank you guys so much.
overwhelming. Oh, I thought I was done being overwhelmed and humbled.
Oh no, Gen Con was just the beginning.
One more thing I want to say about Gen Con that was very, very nice and eye-opening and wonderful was all of the daisies who talked to me about like their own mental health and how like us talking openly has helped them and how they've then turned like it was just like the best. Like it was like, oh yeah, we do a comic book show, but the takeaway for so many people is, oh, I'm not doing well and I should go get help and that's okay. And yeah, fuck yeah, more of that.
Yeah.
Like.
And we are none of us alone.
No.
Yeah, none of us are alone. We're all fighting our own battles. Everyone has a battle that they're fighting. Be patient. Fucking love each other.
I am so glad I'm in therapy.
Yeah.
Gah.
Yeah.
Oh yes, it helps.
Anyway,
Thank you.
Thank you all.
we love you. I love you guys. I love my lovely wife, Brittany. Take a drink of water.
My
Hydrate.
drink.
So should we? Is it time to
Yeah. If we have time at the end of the show, we'll probably get into a couple more packages. But in the meantime,
So
Ditko.
I know
Wow.
I know you want to start, but I also did you end up getting to see that thing?
You guys ignore me.
Yeah.
What's my microphone doing? I'm doing it on purpose now, Liz.
Yeah. Don't break the producer.
So this is in all the most recent Marvel comics.
This week's Marvel comics have 4 pages at the beginning of the book that open with a beautiful, beautiful image. I'll see if I can actually make it really big so you can see. Oh wow, I made a thing happen. There we are. Yep, I'm finding it. So we have this beautiful, beautiful image of Doctor Strange talking to Eternity.
That is from Strange Tales 138, I think, where he meets Eternity during the Eternity Saga.
Followed by Steve Ditko, 1927 to 2018. Legendary artist and creator Steve Ditko built an incredible legacy of work that changed the comic book industry forever. Ditko joined the House of Ideas in 1958, and through the following years, within and outside of Marvel, he breathed life into characters that inspired fans across the globe with dynamic visuals and iconic traits, including superheroes such as Spider-Man, Doctor Strange, Speedball, Squirrel Girl, wow, it's true, and many more. Ditko's designs shaped the Marvel Universe and the world of comics, and he continued to bring his unparalleled vision to life through his work across the industry for decades. His characters touch the hearts of fans everywhere, and the influence of his art will live on in comic books for ages to come. Thank you, Steve. And arguably, even beyond comic books, the very nature of what we consider world pop culture at this point.
Although he was a comics lifer.
Yeah.
Which is pretty great.
Well, and some of the stuff that I read was that he very much was of that first generation that had grown up on comics and sequential art.
The first fan generation.
First fan generation, like.
Oh, I love this.
I know, isn't it beautiful?
Did you see this? Because in keeping with much of Ditko's philosophy, he did not love to give interviews and said it was the work that mattered. So they open this by saying it was the work that mattered. Steve Ditko let his work speak for itself. There's no better way to remember the artist than with one of his most well-known scenes. And they've included here, printed small, pages 1 through 5 of Amazing Spider-Man number 33. That's the issue that introduced Gwen, I think, and a bunch of his other supporting cast as well. In these images, Ditko captured the essence of Spider-Man as he lifts the great responsibility metaphorically lying on his shoulders. I'm just going to give you the pages 2 through 5 on this.
I also included those in the.
Oh God,
But like
sorry.
these pages just show what a master he was at composition.
Lower the.
In using the page to tell a story, but to also tell the emotion of the story, the subtext of what's going on in the story. Because right now, like in this comic, Aunt May's in the hospital, she's dying. He's just discovered that the Doctor Octopus is still around, and he's like been this masked guy behind this big giant thing, and he's underwater and he's dying. And if he dies, Aunt May dies. So his superhero life and his personal life have absolutely crossed over in a way that he's always feared. And he uses those pages like it's very claustrophobic when it starts, and then as he like figures out his responsibility, and like it's amazing. It's absolutely.
I haven't done this in a while, but can we do a reading?
Yeah, absolutely.
If we have,
I've got it on my phone, or on my iPad here.
I guess I'll be narrator. The Amazing Spider-Man.
What?
What? The final chapter. As Peter Parker's Aunt May lies dying in the hospital, victim of the effects of radioactivity in her bloodstream, a sympathetic Dr. Connors waits for Spider-Man to bring the ISO 36 to him, for it is the only serum which might save Peter's aunt. But the stolen serum is in the possession of Doctor Octopus, whose masked henchmen wait outside a steel door as Spidey and Doc Ock battle within. And none suspect that a sudden leak in the underwater dome of the hidden hideout is growing bigger and bigger. While Spider-Man himself, this is much harder to do. Oh, y'all aren't even seeing
they're not
it.
even seeing it. I was going to say, flip it back around.
You tell me next time.
You were on a
While
roll.
Spider-Man himself, having beaten his multi-armed foe, is now trapped beneath tons of fallen steel, with the precious serum lying just out of reach as the fatal seconds tick by. Who wants to be Spidey?
You want to be Spidey?
I'll take
You're the
Spidey.
voice actor.
I failed. Just now, when it counted the most, I failed. But I can't give up. I must keep trying. I must.
There's more words there. Possibly one of the most thoroughly satisfying Spider-Man sagas you have ever thrilled to. Script and editing Stan Lee, plot and illustration, a very early double crediting Steve Ditko, bordering and lettering Artie Simek, reading and enjoying that old web spinner, you.
I've got to try to free myself, no matter how impossible it seems. And lifting is the only way. The only way. Ugh, I can't. So exhausted. After all the fighting, I feel so weak.
But then, the amazing teenager glimpses the life-saving serum, so near and yet so far, so hopelessly far away. Give them a glimpse at least.
It's lying there, just beyond reach, as though mocking me, taunting me. It's the only thing that may save Aunt May. And I can't bring it to her. If she doesn't make it, it'll be my fault. Just the way it's all. I will always blame myself for what happened to Uncle Ben.
From the momentous tale of Spidey's origin, remember? Stan.
The two people in all the world who've been kindest to me. I can't fail again. I can't. It can't happen a second time. I won't let it. I won't. No matter what the odds, no matter what the cost, I'll get that serum to Aunt May. Maybe then I'll no longer be haunted by the memory of Uncle Ben. Within my body is the strength of many men, and now I've got to call on that strength, all the power that I possess. I must prove equal to the task. I must be worthy of that strength, or else I don't deserve it. The weight is unbearable. Every muscle aches. My head, it's spinning. Everything's beginning to whirl around. The strain, it's unbearable.
Give us 1 sec to catch up on the panels here. Thank you, Chief.
Thank you, Trafe. Yeah, and he will keep talking.
Because this is a spotlight on Ditko, who is
spotlight on
doing
Ditko.
some work on these pages.
Look at that.
And
The crack in the ceiling. It's growing wider, getting bigger every second. I'll never make it. I can't.
give us a sec to get it back up.
No, I dare not give up now. If I close my eyes, I'll go under. Must stay awake. Must clear my head. Keep trying. I'll do it, Aunt May. I won't fail you. No matter what, I won't fail. Anyone can win a fight when the odds are easy. It's when the going's tough, when there seems to be no chance, that's when it counts. Everything going black, my head aching. Hold on, I must hold on. It's moving, can't stop now. Last chance, must keep the momentum more, just a little more. And then?
I've just realized that Chief is using his own pages, and it doesn't matter that I'm holding this, but whatever, we're committed now. And then, as the agonizing ache in his limbs seems unendurable, as his superbly muscled body suffers the torment of a virtually indescribable ordeal, from out of the pain, from out of the agony, comes triumph.
I did it! I'm free! And look at that, just, oh God, look at that composition.
So, Chief, can you do me a favor and go back to the very beginning of that sequence just so we can see the layout in full on the page? I hate to make you do that, but it's impressive work, like to show. It doesn't even. I mean, yeah, but like I forgot to send that to him. Just like page 2.
There we are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So just like he's struggling, he's pinned by it, he's struggling. You get like close-ups. You get kind of a pull-out wider shot where you can see the canister in the foreground. Aunt May's in his thoughts. Uncle Ben's in his thoughts. Now go to the next page. All right, now, like, the other page had about 7 or 8 panels. Now you've only got 6. Wide shot, closer in shot, different angles. You can see him straining in all these different pictures. But at the very end, you get him finally starting to stand a little bit. All right, go on, Chief, please. And then here, look, 4 images. Like it, and then
the largest panel we've seen in pages because he is breaking free.
Because he's finally breaking free. The claustrophobia is clearing. And go to the final part of that sequence, boom, and done, full page splash.
And look how the water is actually kind of almost creating a time lapse of imaginary frames. Like it's almost creating a fake gutter.
Yeah.
To be
wow, never even noticed that. Yeah. And what's funny, and this is like the glory of Ditko at his best. You don't even need the words.
No.
That's a silent movie. You can watch that and be like, yep. He's Aunt May's right here, Uncle Ben's right here, and that's like. From his like early works, you can see him like playing with those sort of like montagey sorts of effects and placing other people in the frame and
a lot of floating heads and eyeballs. It's great.
Yeah,
a lot of floating heads.
Yeah,
boy, we're going to be talking about some floating heads.
Yeah,
but Ditko was primarily interested in his art as it served to tell a story, which is fabulous and is what makes him one of the all-time greats. Because the selection of shot, the selection of angle, like you're pointing out, when the canister's in the foreground and Spidey's far away in the same size panel to remind us like what the stakes are and where he's situated connecting to the other things, the acting in those choices of frame, it's just exquisite.
And then going and then flipping back to it for the next page and being like really, really close to the canister and then really, really close to Spider-Man and like moving back and forth in that next page. It's so well.
There's a lot of people who you'd be like, draw a couple pages about someone trying to move a thing, and they'd be like, how? How do you make that compelling?
Well, and
Ditko.
And it's I mean, and it's been mentioned, but like it is fascinating to see this is like the first generation of artists who specifically learned to craft with the notion of becoming a graphic artist specializing in storytelling, in this kind of sequential storytelling. Like that wasn't something that he fell into. It was kind of a goal.
Did you read in one of the introductions to the books that you were pulling for us? They all mentioned his favorite artists, like that he grew up loving Jerry Robinson and then studied under him. But one of them also mentioned that he came by it honestly. Did you read the one about his dad?
Yeah, the Prince Valiant.
His dad loved the Prince Valiant comic strip, and one year for Christmas, Ditko and his brothers and sisters and his mom collected all 52 weeks of the Sunday Prince Valiant strip.
Remember what we showed on our San Diego Comic Con, like pages. That big giant page.
It was a superstar comic, Hal Foster's Prince Valiant. And they had them all bound together into a book. So they made the first, they made a trade paperback of Prince Valiant for their dad for his Christmas present because he loved it so much. And that's amazing. That's how you make artists, kid.
Yeah, and that's how he grew up. He grew up with a dad who was all about Prince Valiant and encouraged, art and stuff like that. So it was easy for him to get into it, it seems. But
In a time where
He also worked
parents
really,
did
really
not
hard.
encourage those kind of things.
He studied under Jerry Robinson. I think he worked at the Eisner Studio for a smash.
That same introduction also mentioned, and this is only funny because Ditko became fiercely independent over the course of his life, having, like many artists of his generation, not great experiences with the companies, like his attitude. Anyway, it's just, for reasons that are difficult to explain, it is hilarious that apparently when he was a child, he had his mother construct him a Batman costume.
Yes! Oh, I thought that was so great.
Baby Ditko dressed up as Batman before that was a thing.
God,
He was born in 1927, y'all. Batman came into existence when he was like 11, and sometime between then and the end of high school, I assume.
He was Batman.
He was Batman.
Was Batman.
Like, not Robin, Batman.
Yeah.
Possibly before Robin was a thing. He might have been Batman.
very, very possibly, because there was a whole year. He had.
He was dead on the age, although he was also the exact age to be like, Robin is me. I wonder if he ever wrote about that, because later in life he also did a bunch of essays and things that I haven't written. So
I haven't read those either.
I did not write Steve Ditko's essays. You
Or
heard it here first.
did
I
you?
heard you had, so that's throwing me now. I'm shook.
May I have?
Oh,
I have my
tiny
iPad.
pad?
You gave it to us.
May I have iPad?
You can have your tiny pad.
Thank you. I don't know what my voices are tonight. Just
No, your voices are your
We make a sounds here on the
we
Wednesday
make
Club.
a mouth a sound.
sound of Gen Con.
All right, so he really didn't start doing comics until 1954, which is an interesting year for him to start doing comics because that's the year of the Comics Code. So there is a little bit of work that he did before the code came in, but there's not a lot. And I know, Taliesin, you read quite a bit of that.
I did. I was really interested in what a pre-code Ditko looked like, and it did not disappoint.
No, certainly does not.
It's some intense stuff. There were several books that were mentioned. He was writing for was it Charlton?
Mostly
Charlton Comics.
Charlton
He
Comics.
had some early work at the Simon and Kirby studio.
They mentioned Simon and Kirby a little bit as well. Charlton Comics at the time was the cheapest possible thing. I mean, like what were they saying? It was the cheapest paper. It was the lowest paid artists and writers on the cheapest paper possible.
Yep.
Although not as low as they would be several years later. After the flood,
after the flood. Yeah.
But they kind of would publish anything. There were books. What are some of the books I found? God, where are they? There's This Book is Haunted, which was a really
that went on for a few years with
The Thing. I'm going to pull up The Thing, which is, I mean, like, this will kind of give you a sense of what
the
these...
popular genres of the time were horror, westerns, crime stories, and it looks like he did a lot of work in the horror genres. Although that one romance story right at the beginning of that
threw me.
These, and thank you for pulling them for us. There are several lovely, I think they're hardcovers in real life.
The Fantagraphics ones.
Yeah, Steve Ditko archives put together by a guy named Blake Bell.
They're great.
They are. And they're amazing.
And they essentially cover his work from that late 53, early 54 until like 57 or 58 when he
Look at this. This is the pirate issue of This Magazine is Haunted. Look at, I mean, like, this is so up my alley. I can't even begin, like...
One of my favorite silly things about the code
Dr. Death,
is that it was hosted by Dr. Death until the code came in, and then it was Dr. Haunt. Much more kid-friendly.
It was Dr. Haunt.
Yeah, it's only slightly spooky when it's Haunt.
And these little tiny stories, it's like little Outer Limits episodes. Like, it's like a silly premise. It doesn't necessarily always resolve well.
Yeah.
Sometimes at all.
There aren't writing credits on most of these, although it's suspected that most of them were by this guy Joe Gill, who I guess did most of the Charlton writing.
Yeah, there's a.
My favorite, which kind of gives me a little bit of a American Horror Story vibe, was the one called Die Laughing. I'm gonna throw up pictures of this, which was
I know which one you're talking about.
A college. It was the story is a college hazing. It's a college hazing for a fraternity, and kind of this guy who's kind of a bully, and no one really likes him, but he's decided that the hazing isn't mean enough.
That man has some awesome eyebrows.
Yeah, no, you can see the face of this, like, this villainous jerk that's like, you guys have it too easy, so you're gonna have to spend a night.
But then show them this mansion because.
Oh yeah. Here The college fraternity kids have to spend the night in a haunted house, and they have to go up to the attic. And he's set something up that apparently is like really scary and like almost.
The contrast in the
Look at
frames
that.
and the zooming in and out to tell the story.
Go back to the very first page, if you don't mind.
There we are.
All right. Notice there that it's 3 images, it's 3 panels.
Mm-hmm.
Almost every single Ditko comic of this era started with 3 panels on the first page.
And the way that this house comes together, the lighting, the color, and basically the kids start going into this haunted house and they just don't come out. And the guy refuses to tell anybody what he put in the attic, and it just gets, and like kids just keep coming up and then they don't come out. And they keep going up and finally like they go into search. And he eventually, like being kind of the bully character, goes like, I'll do it, and go in. And they all come up, and when they finally get up there, this is actually like almost disturbing. When the whole rescue party goes up there, all the other kids are gone, but the one bully kid is still in there, except he's 60 years older and he's gone insane. And they eventually just burn the house down because they can never find out what he put up there or what happened.
So
And that's how it ends. It's just
so weird.
he's just crazy and 60 years older, and then the cops take him away and burn the house down.
Hey kids, comics.
Yeah. Arkwright, Chavez, and Breen, they have never been seen again. What strange and horrible fate engulfed them will probably never be known. Just one of the things I imagine. What do you think? Oh, this is from The Thing. That's right. This was not from... oh, man. Yeah, these horror stories are really fun. They go all over the place. This is one with, like, a wizard and a knight with a machine gun. Like this is things that happen in these books.
Yeah.
Yeah, with a cowboy back there.
Ain't no use to warn you.
Yeah, and where's the wizard?
Oh, this is I know. This is the one where, like, goblins have, like, some treasure.
Yes.
Or something like that.
It's the goblin treasure.
It's the goblin treasure. And, like, this old prospector lives outside of this castle and warns people not to go in, always, but he's slowly collecting all their secrets somehow until he finally knows exactly how to steal it. Or does he?
There's also this really there's an amazing one with centaurs versus humans, and the centaurs
Didn't read that one, but I saw it. I was like, oh my god, he drew centaurs?
There's a whole race of centaurs trying to kill the humans, and every time they attack the humans, they die, and they don't know what's going on. And this one centaur like gets away and like hides in a cave for 1,000 years, and then comes out in the modern world and is like, I'm finally gonna have my revenge, and charges in, and then they're like, that's a great costume, man, you look ridiculous. And then he realizes that what was happening was that none of the humans believed they existed, so they all ceased to exist. So he just like literally like Daffy Duck erases out of existence.
It's
great. So dark.
That's great.
Oh my god. There is some philosophy there.
I've been
that's a term
Vanished in a
paper.
puff of logic.
I haven't slept much in the last 48 hours, but I've read a lot of really weird comic books.
I'm also gonna just.
Vanished in a puff of logic.
Oh my god.
I'm just stealing that from Douglas Adams. But I pulled this one. I believe we all did.
Yep.
Because this is from one of his later 50s, but before he's gone Marvel.
Full Marvel, yeah. He'd only done a couple issues by that point.
Oh, you swipe up from the circle, and then you just.
Does that help?
Yeah, that does it.
All right, let's try this again. So all those eyes, some interesting preoccupations on display.
Eyeballs, huh?
A mysterious dude. So what you have here, this way of representing a psychological state and someone being tormented, it looks very proto Doctor Strange.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff, especially in his horror stuff, that you're like, I see where Doctor Strange is coming from. Oh,
I know, there's like never ending. I know we're showing.
I actually didn't see that
There's
one.
just
Isn't this one
amazing
great?
stuff.
Oh, that one's so
Literally
good.
says unusual and strange. Let's see.
Yeah, show that off to the.
This is a cover, and shout out to whatever unnamed colorist. If the general accounts of that period are right, possibly some random women working in a factory who made this gorgeous, gorgeous treatment of this out of the world cover.
Is this from the
This world.
third volume, fourth volume?
Third or fourth. I stopped paying attention to where I got things. I'm very
So
sorry.
that's probably like around 55, 56.
Yeah.
Maybe 57.
A Charlton publication.
So if I recall, like the thing, like a lot of these books, once the code kicked in, kept going or attempted to. Like I remember The Thing, which was one of the big horror anthologies. It got a host called the Faceless, the Faceless one.
The Mysterious Stranger?
The Mysterious Stranger.
Oh, yeah.
It was
Yeah.
like with
I
the
pulled that
faceless
too.
people.
Oh man, those were great.
And and like he was kind of an interesting fourth wall breaking character. Wow, again that 3-panel. God, you're so right.
Will one of you do the reading for the mysterious stranger here?
Yes.
You
Have
should take
seen
one.
me.
You have seen me. You mistook me for a furtive blob of darkness, strangely darker than the other shadows, and for a split second you found yourself staring puzzledly.
Puzzledly.
But then the form quickly faded, and you forgot. You have heard me too. You mistook my dry voice for the twin scratching of dead leaves across the window pane, or my laugh for the long drawn-out wail of a train in the distance. But now there shall be no mistake. Now you shall hear Dr. Haunt clearly as I tell my haunting tales. And I can read your minds. At this moment, you are wondering what my face looks like. This you shall never know. But since we dwell on the subject, let me tell you the tale of the Faceless Ones.
Faceless Ones.
At least some of these magazines were licensed from a radio show, so you can tell that style of narration of a host for these stories is very reminiscent of radio drama from that time.
There were some interesting attempts to make things that weren't scary because of the code, like the Menace of the Maple Leaves.
Oh, this is the Mysterious Traveler.
Yeah.
The other guy's Dr. Hunt. But Tomorrow's Punishment with the
there we
Mysterious
go.
Traveler.
There's a whole issue where they just have evil maple leaves that eat people.
So
Just
while
about as
while
scary
on
as you
this
can think.
while on the subject of mysterious, it's the mysterious stranger, right? Look at like him breaking the panel here.
Oh, wait, show that.
yeah,
show
show it
that.
off.
That's very.
So, like, this is just another example of how inventive he could be. The stranger is telling the story, and a lot of times what Ditko would do is just kind of have the stranger kind of faded into the background and stuff like that.
I also thought that was the stranger, but that might actually be Dr. Hunt.
Is this Dr. Hunt or
Yeah.
They're both kind of the same
Dr.
thing.
Hunt from this magazine is haunted. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but you see here, he's breaking, he's
Tearing.
actually ripping through the panel here, and he actually ripped through the panel up here too, and the action continued down to here. So he's a part of the story, and then he ends up going to some weird dimension where people don't have faces, and they invade our dimension with their facelessness.
He pops into the corner of this one too, with his little. It looks like a magnifying glass, but it's just like a cool staff thing.
As we
Matt is frozen.
as Matt is frozen in the. See if we can pull that up.
Looks real cool.
There we are.
Hey, so you can see him busting into the corner here.
Yeah, I love
Coming
having
down
a
at
host.
the end to sort of just to interrupt the space of the action and also play into the sense that a tale is being told by the idea of crinkling paper coming up.
Is that the one with the creepy action figures that live and like interact with each other? There's like a very dark version of Toy Story in one of these issues.
But like, as far as I know, like there weren't a lot of other artists who were playing with the frame and the form
Although
this
he was
way.
also
like,
he was a big Eisner fan, so for
Yeah.
some of this he was probably drawing on what Eisner did in the Spirit.
yeah,
with
exactly.
Interesting layouts and.
There's one of them that one of the shorts that I really enjoy for any of the Doctor Who fans. Willpower with this statue
Yeah.
Oh my God, I thought of that too.
came to life, and there's that
The Weeping Angels, yeah.
yeah, it's a very weeping angel with the living statue. That's very.
I love this story because the twist ending happens in 3 pages. This
Yeah.
is a 3-page story.
It's a 3-page story. It's simple. It's to the point. It's
And that was one of the things in this introduction that said Charlton would do. They would just assign random stories to artists and be like, yeah, here's a 5-pager. Yeah, whatever. Oh, here's 3 pages. Go do that. You want me to do this in 3 pages? Okay. And then they would just collect them on shelves and be like, cool. Well, we've got 20 pages here. We need what, like 3 more? Oh, there's a 3-pager. Throw that in.
Yeah.
Like it was all completely random so many times.
found the dying centaurs.
Oh, jeez.
That's great.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's, oh God, the man, there's one, I mean, like, I know I'm just like going through, like, and there's another one.
No,
There's one about a man who's drowning, he's stuck inside a whale, and like, these fishermen are saving this man stuck inside a whale, and like, it's another 3-pager.
Matt, thank you for getting us
And
to
they
read
they
these.
cut him out of the whale,
Oh,
and then he's like, and he does the I'm finally free, but of course, he's a merman. And so they immediately put him in a tank and put him on display.
Oh no!
Oh, jeez.
Oh, There's a lot of fun, weird twists like that.
So by the the late 50s, by 56 and 57, there'd been a thing where like Charlton had a terrible, like a hurricane hit them. And
Yeah, so like
A flood?
It was Hurricane Diane in August of '55, and it caused a really bad flood that decimated the Charlton campus. And Charlton and most other comic book publishers at the time didn't have their printing and publication and everything on the same premises, but Charlton did. So that brought everything to a halt. So Marvel, or Timely at the time, DC, all those are like, they're doing their thing, sending their pages off to the publisher,
Down
and
the street.
the printing, but Charlton was all on one campus. So slow production for a year. And in that exact same time, let's see, that was after he left for tuberculosis, I think.
Yeah, he was sick for.
He was suffering tuberculosis, disappeared for about a year, came back, and soon after he came back, the hurricane hit, and then he was like, "Well, Charlton can't pay me. I'm gonna go try with Marvel again." Timely, Stan Lee, and Stanley's like, "Yeah, kid, you're hired. I'll give you some pages." So then he did. His first Marvel comic was in 1956, called Two Gun Western #4.
1956 is also a fun year because you'll remember from our other discussions of comics history that it is generally considered the start of the Silver Age because over at DC, Flash had
Showcase.
just shown up.
What was it? Showcase 4?
Flash.
Yeah.
Yeah, our Silver Age Flash.
Yeah, Silver Age, Barry Allen.
Barry.
Beery. And so that was the Badman. Yeah,
Starts
but
jobbing around here and there, and this, like, just because it's astounding, how much did he draw for Charlton in the next year or two once they got back?
Oh, boy, here we
I've
go.
got that down here.
This is intense.
All right, so
Brace yourselves.
So Charlton Comics comes back. I'm going to give it a little bit of setup to the number because it's really fun. Charlton Comics comes back, and they were already some of the lowest paying rates in the industry. They come back from that devastating hurricane, and they're like, "Hey, we're back. We're going to pay you half what we already were." And everyone's like, "Ha ha 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 ha! What?" And they said, "But here's the deal. You're going to get payments on time, which other publishers weren't doing, and you're going to get a lot of work. And we're not going to have any editorial oversight. It's yours. Draw it, write it, turn it in. It's done. So for someone like Stan Lee, that's like,
Ditko.
oh my God,
No.
Ditko.
None
Thank
of
you,
us is
Ditko.
left.
For someone like Ditko, yeah, let's do it. Done. That's all I care to do. I'll make money. Awesome. I get to do the work that I want to do. Even better. You know, because that was his.
He can put out a lot of volume.
So
he would rather just.
So, like, what kind of volume are we talking?
well, let's see.
At these bare bottom gross
really,
pay rates.
really low pay rates.
So Ditko, as it says here in the intro, Ditko had only produced 67 pages for Marvel in 1956, but his output at Charlton soared in 1957 to over 450 pages.
I'm sorry, what?
Almost 2 full comics a month by today's standards. This allowed him to experiment with different styles and different genres, and that development arc is on display in this volume, and it really is.
Yeah.
It's incredible. It's like, here's horror, here's romance, here's a Western, here's another Western, here's a Twilight Zone, here's
some
space.
pirates,
It's just like,
space.
here's pirates.
travel.
It's just like, how are you doing all of this and keeping it straight, man? And like, you're new to this. He's still relatively new. He's still finding his voice and his form.
He's doing it professionally for 3 years at this point, 2.5. Like,
Yeah,
one
that's
of which he
it.
spent sick.
Yeah.
Did you find the rates, by the way? Because I found the rates. And
Oh,
the rates
$2 a page. Or
he,
$6.50 for him, $2 for the writers.
Yeah.
$6.50 for a page of finished art, and that was pencils and inking. And by the way, we will be doing our 5-minute one-shot tonight, our 5-minute topic. So get those topics in.
And compared to what, people were, if you were drawing for Marvel, that was more like $15 or $16 a page at that point.
There was the only example they had in there was that
Bill Everett.
Bill Everett in the 40s quoted $14 a
About
page
14
for
a
writing
page.
and drawing.
Yeah, and that's the inventor of the Namor. I think he helped on Daredevil, if I remember correctly.
That sounds right, I think.
Was it? Oh God, Joe Gill. I was like, Gil Kane. That's not right. Joe Gill. Joe Gill was the primary writer for Charlton Comics, and it's presumed that he's probably the writer for
a majority of the work in this volume.
It is strange to be reading collections in this century where we're just like, there are no writing credits in this thing unless you carefully read the introduction, because I guess we just don't know.
Don't know or care.
It's
But he had a quote about Ditko and his ethics, and he said, Ditko has ethics and stern beliefs, and he kept to them. He wouldn't do bad work just because he was getting bad pay. He tried to do just as well for Charlton as he was for Marvel. And then the writer has a note here. Hence the reason why almost no one can remember any work from 1950s Charlton books but Ditko's work. Because what happened was Charlton was asking for so much work from so many writers and so many artists and paying so little, they were just like, middle finger, whatever, here, fuck it, here it is.
To do your best work that quickly,
No.
unless you're Ditko.
Unless you're Ditko, who says, no, I don't care how much I'm getting paid, this is what I want to do, and I have respect for what I do.
sure
I have
he's
high
getting
demand for what I
yes,
do. Yeah.
but
I feel like he's getting something out of it, where he's like, I'm here because I need to draw 1,000 pages to
Yeah,
feel better about
yeah,
what I'm doing.
and I think that speaks to the what's it called, Ayn objectivism, where it's like
Later in life, Ditko gets very into Ayn Rand's philosophy. Ayn Rand?
Ayn Rand,
Yeah.
Ayn Rand, where it's very much about you make your own happiness. I think, if I understand it, this has always been like one philosophy, and then I'm like, all right, I kind of understand it, but essentially what I do understand of it is you kind of are responsible for yourself, and no one else can make you happy or give you happiness, and you need to discover what it is that makes you happy on your own.
That's the
Kindest
version
That's
of that
sort
I've
of
ever
a
heard.
sweet, benign take on it.
But yes, but no.
No, that's all I got.
Yeah,
That's all I
it's
got.
good,
Please fill me in, because like I said, I'm a little ignorant of it. So
There's
a whole
That's a whole thing.
That's a whole different show. A lot of it is about economic systems and
Sure.
whether when you get into whether charity is corrupting to the soul, it's a whole different area of thinking.
Yes.
But in terms of placing value in your work and yourself as an artist, while I sitting out here might I obviously think that him deriving satisfaction for it is not enough reason to be making shit money.
Yeah.
But I love that he did work so hard to try to meet his own standards for art. I think that's beautiful.
yeah, and I agree. And I agree.
As someone who has worked for shit money, I definitely am. I'm always at the but I really wish I hadn't done that. But I really wish I hadn't done that.
Heck, you pay me. Is what we would like to tell the past Steve Ditko.
Yeah.
But he did get really good.
He got really good, and that led to a couple things that we're about to get into. Because why do you? I mean, what was your first introduction to Steve Ditko?
What do you think? What do you think?
I know. I just want to hear you say it.
Dr. Strange.
Yeah, for anyone who's literally
Take a drink of water. Stay hydrated.
We really
folks.
haven't even gotten into this because this is all the run-up. This is the becoming Steve of Ditko.
So here's one thing that I found that I immediately fell in love with. I just need a. From a comic called From All Our Dark Rooms, a story called From All Our Dark Rooms. I can't remember if it's from this book is haunted or not, but it's a Charlton comic.
Oh yeah. Oh.
I want you to take a look at this window featured in a comic from 1956, 1957.
I was just looking at that. Look at that.
Huh.
Look at that.
Little familiar.
That's a fun little story too. That's
Again,
Negative
shout
Man.
out to the colorist on this.
Yeah, right.
Who was probably also making 75 cents or whatever, but killed it.
Yeah, this particular issue was especially complicated because it was about somebody turning into a photo negative. So there was
Yeah, they were turning in like photo negatives. It was super weird.
A lot of work for the colorist.
But they like fell through a window at one point or something like that, and that window looked
It's the dark room window, which is why it's got the red light in it.
looks a little bit like
It looks a little strange.
Window of the Worlds.
It looks a little strange. But sitting on that all day. So I knew we'd get there.
So, but on top of that, going back to what Amy said with all those eyes, you start getting kind of like just another like
Demi.
the Eye of Agamotto, And again, this is like 56, 57. Like you see themes early on in what Ditko is doing.
The visual cues that he's enjoying. And
Yeah.
The things that he enjoys drawing.
Motifs
the things
that appeal to him, things he finds useful for storytelling.
Yeah.
Because he's doing so much of it so fast that he starts to develop like which tricks work really well for him. Is Ditko, and I should have pulled it, is Ditko the artist of the panels that always work? That very famous piece of instruction that goes around for comic artists?
I don't know.
Okay, well, I'll look it up while we talk, because if so, I want to pull it up.
But there was one story where it's one of the first times I think he's played around with humans tripping into another dimension from this dimension. What was the name of it? I've got it here. I just can't remember what the name of it was. But it has to do with a man buying a painting, and his daughter the next day is like, "Daddy, look at this diamond I got." And he goes, "Where did you get it?" And she goes, "I got it from the painting that you bought." He's like, "What do you, baby, that's impossible." The next day she comes back with a ruby. The next day she comes back with another jewel. So they all start like wondering, like, "Oh my God, is she really going into this painting?" So the next night, the guy who bought the painting waits by the painting, watches it. Then at a certain point, he's like, "Wait, that looks real." And he goes up to the painting and steps into it. And it's one of the first times Ditko has played around with humans going into another dimension. And this, again, is from around 56, 57. You can see him
Oh, look at that.
here stepping through. You can see his
Oh, look
foot
at
there as
that.
it disappears. Then you've got this weird, like, what is going on? Like, where is he? What does that even look like? Then he's coming out of it. Over here, he runs away. He's terrified. Then you have a classic Ditko thing, close up of the face, the eyes. The eyes are the expressions. And that's the chauffeur who selfishly disappears into the painting to chase after jewels for himself.
I was totally wrong. It's Wallywood. Does the
Wally Wood.
always work?
Wally Wood was a contemporary of Strange, of
Strange.
Ditko.
He's going to be doing it.
I'm only commenting on it because they're great.
No, yeah, but yeah, you see here, like, he actually makes it in, and more, like, you see crazed eyes, you see, like, satisfied, like, "Oh my God, yes," kind of eyes, like he's so excited, and then he can't get back.
The work of a comics storyteller encompasses so much. It is the selection of the shot. It is the selection of like the production design. It is the acting. It is the amount of time we spend looking at different things and the order in which we see them. It is how much of one page is devoted to each part of that, as we saw with the Spider-Man sequence. It really matters what size those panels are relative to each other. It's one reason I'm still kind of resisting reading panel by panel, is because of all the work that goes into those.
You are not wrong. I will go as far as say that, like, the stuff I read, I read panel by panel only when I'm reading on the reason I have a ridiculously large iPad is so I don't have to. But it really is.
Read however you're going to read.
Read however you're going to read.
But one of the joys of a comic book page is that it gives you an opportunity to leverage that limitation of page space so that the distinctions within it are meaningful, and you can use that to say something about the story you're telling.
Yeah.
And yeah, Ditko,
I'm gonna bring up something that page made me think of, which is I get the sense from that story of somebody who is aware of Kirby, is aware that they're going to have to, somebody who wants to be Kirby, but understands that in order to be Kirby, you have to not be Kirby.
Yes.
If that
absolutely
makes
sense.
Is having a sense of how Kirby would have put that story together, and having a sense of how Jack Kirby would have told that story. Seeing it in my head, I see somebody who understands how Jack Kirby would have told that story, and I think, and this is a guess, but I feel like it's a very strong guess, very specifically went out of his way to say, I can be weird, I can be interesting, I can be not Jack Kirby. And like, that's the vibe I get from that page, is we're going into the weird world. I'm like, oh, get ready for Kirby. I'm like, oh, this isn't Kirby.
Well, and what I think exactly what you're saying is exactly right, because he essentially said the secret to being Jack Kirby is to be unique and inventive and to know your own voice. So the best way for me to be Jack Kirby is to not be Jack Kirby, but to be Steve Ditko.
Which was so hard, because Jack was really defining so many parameters of how these stories got told, and like immediately I see that mirror world.
Him and Eisner both were like really the definition of how this goes.
And it was such a break from what I was expecting.
from that kind of story. It was such a different astral plane, so to speak.
Yes.
Than
But also, it like those guys were titans, absolutely. But there was also just a ton of different work going on all the time. He was also influenced by Wally Wood, who was around. He was influenced by Joe Kubert, who was doing a ton of war comics and another bunch of
and
amazing
obviously
stuff.
Jerry Robinson, who like invented the Joker. You know, it's just like one of the preeminent Batman artists, Jerry Robinson. Like he was an inker, and then he later took over penciling and everything else. But like,
We can look
of
back.
course,
and see
he
this-
works with the Batman artist.
Yeah.
You know?
We can look back and see this spine of Kirby coming from Cap in the 40s and stretching to 60s and inventing the Marvel Universe. And it's very relevant, like we said earlier, Ditko worked for their company at their studio for a couple of stories before he moved on to, because everyone was working everywhere at the time. But there was just an incredible volume of work going on, like from the many different publishers all the time. They were just churning out books.
Yeah.
So there were lots of places to look for inspiration, and of course all those EC artists that were considered the top of their game.
Who had to quit working for EC when EC stopped being EC.
a lot of things happened.
Yeah, the 50s were rough.
Not a great time to be weird.
Yeah,
No.
that's actually a great way to put it. 50s, not a great time to be weird.
No.
Conform. So now that
that's
we've kind of seen Ditko and seen what he can do, I thought it would be fun to take a look at the very, very first. So this is
Yes.
the very first Doctor Strange comic. This is Strange Tales 110.
Oh God, look at that.
And as you can see here,
What year is this?
65, 66, I want to say. Thereabouts.
Okay, there's so much going on here that I like.
So you can see here that you know we've got. He typically would do 3 panels.
Thank you.
Oh, there we go. Thank you, Chief. He would
Doctor
typically do
Strange.
3 panels. We've got 4 here.
Wait, okay. Men call him Doctor Strange. Never have you known his like. It is a great pleasure and privilege for the editors of Strange Tales to present, quietly and without fanfare. It got smaller and moved to the other side of the page, and my glasses aren't very good. I'm very sorry. Quietly and without fanfare, the first of a new series, based upon a different kind of superhero. Doctor Strange, master of black magic.
So you can
God,
like
look
you
at
can
that.
see like it's that classic Ditko face, like very like like heavy in line work and shading,
Very long,
very long.
slightly bigger than the body in a strange way.
No,
it's
strange.
yeah, in a strange way.
Like
in a
his
strange way.
background.
So
yeah.
the gloves are amazing.
Yeah.
Just have
I
to
don't know
point
how
that
long
out.
the gloves lasted.
They don't
in
last very
particularly
long.
fancy form.
Yeah,
And the way that the bat kind of almost falls into a shadow as opposed to just being a big seal on.
Yeah.
She eventually, I know, eventually morphs into more.
And then at the bottom of the page, Chief, if we could get it back up, please. Thank you.
Zorin.
At the bottom of the page, you have this poor man just in absolute like tumult. Like he's just like, oh my God, I heard the name whispers, Doctor Strange. He dabbles in black magic. Perhaps he can help me. Ah!
Okay, I do want to pause here. This is a story in 3 panels.
Yeah.
You start from outside this window. You are entering this room. You are becoming acquainted with this situation via this rain-soaked window pane. And you see a full-length figure. In the second one, we've got like pretty much a close-up. Not close, medium, you know what I mean?
got a medium
knees
shot.
to head. We're inside the
But now
room
we're inside the room,
and
yep.
it's dramatically casting shadows on the wall. He is processing the sudden waking from the first panel. Now he's asking the question. And panel 3 is the decision. We are now closest. We see his face. It is illuminated by the mood and the psychology of the moment, and a very dramatic flame at the end of that. And this is the moment of decision where he introduces the name of the character, but because he's hit a point. It's a turning point, and it is literally a turning point because it's a page turn.
And it's and it's look at he's lighting the cigarette, and you can see the jitter in the face and in the hand, like he's actually given him a tremor through the whole. I mean,
We are
it's
the
just
most
beautiful.
in his head, and we are also the most active in this panel. And you can tell because we have a full close-up, and because it's the moment of decision. Yeah, comics are great, guys.
Yeah, comics are amazing, and like that was one of the things that like Ditko was known for was
his capacity to set a scene with like base elements. Like what do you have there? You have like a bed and some rain and a window.
Oh! Dude, go center yourself. Yeah. Oh.
Well, that's made the entire episode right there.
Say something.
By the hoary hosts of Hoggath!
Exactly.
The flames of the Faltine, the winds of Watum. Goulet.
By the Vishanti.
By the blessings of the Vishanti and the crimson bands of Sitalrock!
Well,
I'm so happy.
that made me.
Oh my
very
God. Like I wasn't looking at the screen and you guys just started laughing. I was like, did I say something wrong?
Yes.
Oh.
But that was one of the things that he was known for, was his capacity to go from wide detail to medium shot to kind of establish a little bit more and then push in on the emotion and then pull back out. But a lot of times,
It helps if you drew like 1,500 pages of comics in the last several years.
yeah, right. And what we have here is like then on the very next page, he shows up at Doctor Strange's Sanctum Sanctorum. He approaches Doctor Strange. I need help. But like this is all like you've got like a range of like wide shots and close-up shots here. You know. Ah, man.
Yeah, there you go.
And that's just something that Ditko did so well, is choose his shots. That's not to say that other artists didn't do that well either, but Ditko knows how to compose a page to tell.
I love that page turn goes straight from the decision to walking through the door. He enters from left to right into the space that we are meeting for the first time. And we've literally just traveled with him from in his head to falling into the door of the person he hopes can help him.
Yeah, and he, like, I will enter your dream. He takes astral form, enters the dream, goes to talk to the Ancient One about it, and then discovers that it's Nightmare. Nightmare is the very first villain Doctor Strange ever has. And then I want you to take a look at this page. This is some, like, very classic Ditko work.
Oh, I remember this page.
Like
Eyeballs!
Ditko loves eyeballs. He loves concentric circles.
And I love
Like he loves to use line work inside of those concentric circles to create emotion and evoke tone.
that first time that Doctor Strange takes astral form was forever burned into my head. Just the arm, the way that the arms move is really.
How long did they keep calling him Master of Black Magic?
Not for long.
Okay, because it becomes Mystic
Yeah,
Arts.
Mystic Arts, yeah.
Supreme,
It kind of went back and forth just because they didn't know that they were really establishing a mythology. Because
This is the mid to late 60s, so it's a little easier to be weird. They aren't going to be immediately burned for saying black magic in comics, but they're probably still trying to stay on the safe side.
yeah, and so here's what's funny, strange, and amazing to me. Strange Tales 110. Oh, hold on, actually. 63. So I was about a year. I was a little off on my years, but it's
Wow, that's earlier than I remembered.
Yeah,
He
for
did
some
that
reason.
Spidey back to back?
Spidey was what, 62?
62?
Yep. But so
Wow.
here's what's amazing about Doctor Strange to me, and I'm sure I've talked about it on the show before, but he, like, Ditko created Strange. He went to
Ignore
Stan
that thing
Lee.
that says story by Stan Lee.
Yeah, like Ditko went to Stan Lee and said, hey, I've got an idea for a character that I think would be a fun superhero to do. It's something different that we haven't done yet. I'm calling him like Doctor Strange, and Stan Lee was like, yeah, I don't know if it'll work too well. Give me 5 pages and we'll find a place for it. And he's like, turns out to be Strange Tales 110, where the first, let's see, what is it? 14 pages were Human Torch and Thing fighting Paste Pot Pete.
Sure.
Who doesn't love a paste pot?
I mean, who don't
come
love
on.
some Paste Pot Pete?
I love
but,
paste pot.
He's
Pete.
got that paste pot.
It's tasty.
And this was back when
eat the
Paste Pot
paste.
Pete
I
was
like
wearing
eating
like
paste.
Life
the
advice.
Life
Don't
advice,
eat the
don't
paste.
eat the paste.
the hat, the weird hat,
The bucket on his head?
the bucket on his no, the weird beret, like the artistic beret.
Oh, this was that paste pot
yes.
Pete.
Yeah, so
Paste pot Pete, for those of you who don't know, is a very silly old school Marvel villain whose superpower is glue.
he's got a
Got
glue
fancy
gun.
glue.
He's got a glue gun and literally shoots glue at people. It's disgusting, it's weird, and his name is Paste Pot Pete.
And he was later turned into the Trapster.
The Trapster for a while, that's right.
Is it
Forgot about
Trapster?
that. Paste Pot Pete. man.
But that was the first That was the first 13 or 14 pages of Strange Tales 110. And then there's a little stupid, stinky little backup issue in the back that was completely written by Steve Ditko. Like, plotted, drawn, pitched to Stan Lee. Then Stan Lee was like, yeah, you know, I can do something with this. Sure, yeah, I can fill in the dialogue for this. Absolutely. So all the dialogue is secondary to the silent film that Ditko turned in. And then Strange, so that's 110. 111 comes along. No Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange doesn't return until 112. Why does he return? Because everyone who read Strange Tales 110 was like, oh my God, Doctor Strange! And they all wrote letters, and Strange Tales at that point was every other month.
I would like to thank all of you if you are watching this and you wrote a letter
First
to
of all,
Strange Tales 110.
I'm so impressed that you're still alive and
Yeah.
well
yeah,
done.
Keep kicking.
maybe you were
Keep on kicking.
small. Please tell us about your letter writing exploits and how you are responsible for us having Dr. Strange.
And your diet and exercise regime, because I want to like be around that long. That's
seriously.
also very interesting.
But I always thought that was so interesting that Strange Tales 110 comes out, I think, in May of, I guess, 63.
I guess it's not far.
And then 112 comes out, or 111 comes out a couple months later. So 4 months after his debut, they get a second Doctor Strange story, because by that point they knew, oh, there's something here. The audience likes this, and we've been able to do that. And that's where they bring in Baron Mordo. And then a couple months after that, with 115, they're like, we forgot to do an origin story. We were so wrapped up in giving the audience Doctor Strange, we forgot to tell his origin story. And then they created, in my opinion, one of the better origin stories in comics. It's one of the reasons I love him as much as I do. It's he almost died in a car accident. He wrecked the one thing that he needed for his career outside of his, brain. He needs his hands to be very steady so he can do surgery, because he's a surgeon, for those of you who don't know. And then that's what pushes him to seek help. And you get the story of this redeemed man of science who's discovered that there's something bigger and greater and beyond himself, something that he can't explain, but he can only ever just try to chase and try to understand with his limited capacity. And I don't know, that sounds a lot like what I tried to do. Like, just like, I was a man of science and Christianity, and now I've discovered that the world is much bigger than I could ever have imagined. And I don't know. I love his story.
We are aware that you identify wonderfully with this character.
Yeah.
We enjoy staring at you as if you have to keep explaining it, just because it's always so delightful. But it is a remarkable accomplishment, and suddenly you have and we skipped a character, obviously, we have to discuss at some point. But
yeah, Squirrel Girl.
Squirrel Girl.
You're in the 90s. You're getting ahead of yourself.
I kid.
She's the most important. We all agree on that.
Though I will say, Steve Ditko, thank you for giving me my first character, or my most beloved character, and giving my wife her most beloved character. Talking about my lovely wife, Brittany, of course. Take a drink, stay hydrated. But you're speaking of Spider-Man.
I'm speaking of Spider-Man, which was. I mean, it cannot be. There's no way to pretend this isn't one of the most important things to happen in American comic books.
No, there's no way. No way around it.
Because it changed. It literally fundamentally changed everything.
Yep. I would say that probably changed things more than even the Flash. Like, bringing the Flash in 55, 56?
56.
Showcase number 4.
The Flash lit the fuse, but Spider-Man was the bomb.
Was the bomb.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the Fantastic Four, but yeah.
The Fantastic Four certainly were pushing things forward, but Spider-Man was, and is, was a fundamentally different character. It was a fundamentally different way of looking at a superhero character. It was fundamentally a more complex character than had ever existed at this point in these books.
Well, there's almost an element of like Spider-Man is sort of a commentary on Superman in some way, where he's like, not a commentary necessarily, but like a
reaction.
A reaction, certainly a reaction to where it's like, Superman, big, strong, strapping 30-year-old man. Spider-Man, kid who's struggling to make ends meet with his very frail aunt. Girls don't like him. He can't catch a break.
Well, and the famous summation of the sort of Marvel Revolution of the early 60s was that they were heroes with feet of clay.
Yeah.
They took these larger-than-life exploits and started trying to apply elements of psychology and give them flaws and give them squabbles in a way that for their readership felt like a revelation.
I mean, I can definitely imagine, because I mean, there's something about Superman is something to
the notion of being Superman is something to like spiritually strive for. That notion of being this symbol of good and purity, but you're never actually going to reach that. It's just something to reach for. Spider-Man is a bit of a mess.
Yeah,
and
Spider-Man's not someone you
reach. Symbol of your own conflict as a human being.
Yeah, Spider-Man's not someone that you aspire to be. Spider-Man starts off as someone that you are.
Yeah.
Like, this is who you are. Now we've added superpowers to it. Whereas Superman is, this is an ideal that you aspire to be.
Whereas
both ideas are wonderful and great, and we need them both. But
Spider-Man is just somebody you know given a tool to be better, and then actually attempting to be better with that tool.
Yeah.
And I know that it sounds very simple, and from a storytelling aspect point it is, but it wasn't something anyone had thought that anyone needed, and it wasn't something that was really put forward yet.
Now here, you know what? I hadn't thought of this until now, but you said something interesting about Jack Kirby and Stan Lee or Steve Ditko.
Welcome to No Sleep O'Clock.
God, right?
We are tired.
We are Gen Con tired. You fans exhausted us in the greatest way.
We failed our Gen Con save.
Whatever light we had left, the airlines then squashed.
Oh man, that flight.
Oh yeah.
My flight was only 2 hours late, and everyone I know had a worse experience.
Yeah, I don't know what it was. Indianapolis did not want us to leave, or maybe we didn't want to leave Indianapolis.
Yeah.
We
Langoliers
manifested
got
that
the
way.
way.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's old Stephen King.
I'm curious, as I'm trying to look this up, does anyone have a picture of skinny Peter Parker from early Ditko Spidey?
God, please.
This is the important, like the thing that Jack Kirby and Stan Lee are the architects of the Marvel Universe as we know it, and responsible for the absurd majority of the characters and worlds that have filled our imaginations for the past 50 years on the Marvel side. But there is one very, very notable exception, and it was in the form of this kid, this spider kid.
Look at him. Look at him up there.
And I wanted to pull that up because one of these introductions. Oh God, if my iPad
Here's his first intro. Yeah.
Excellent. Oh, good. Crashing would be helpful. Comixology.
Well, one of the while you're look here, you can. This is my Marvel Unlimited app.
It's to side by side it with the thing that I'm looking.
Oh, okay.
Is what I'm trying to do here.
So what you said about Kirby earlier, and Ditko, is like what Ditko realized was to be Kirby, he had to find his own voice. Like the best way to be Jack Kirby is to be Steve Ditko, right? And that's what got him Spider-Man. He found his own voice, and like because Stan Lee originally went to Jack Kirby, he's like, I want to do this. Like,
Kirby Spider-Man wouldn't have worked.
And he was blocky, he was square-jawed, and Stan Lee was like, not what I'm looking for. Like I'm looking for a kid, a nerdy kid, like a kid that's picked on, a kid that has no right to be a superhero, and you're giving me the high school job.
In any other book, this would not be the main character. In every other book, this would be the character in the background.
That is exactly why Stan pivoted off of Kirby and went instead with Ditko. And the only reason he was able to do that was because Ditko had the bravery to find his own voice and to not try to copy other people, but to innovate in his own way. And that's why you also get stuff like Doctor Strange, which is just, for that day, is like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah. I mean, like, I can
weird.
imagine a Kirby Doctor Strange, but it would have just been another Kirby character as opposed to...
Exactly.
It would have been a Kirby character that worked, but it wouldn't have been Ditko. It would have been another fourth world.
Yeah, it would have been another fourth world, like strangely complicated in a way that maybe not like more aesthetic than it actually needs to be. Like,
and as Ditko slowly evolved, especially his cosmic sense, which is where like I love Cosmic Kirby. Cosmic Kirby is my jam. Ditko found another expression of that same energy and environment that had a lot more geometry in it and had a lot more playing with perspective and a lot more. I would say like depth of perspective, I suppose, would be the Kirby always feels very, very Flash Gordon and very big with splashes of color, and the Doctor Strange movie is such a good example of how you can take the notion of a more geometric cosmic reality and really it's Doctor Strange versus Guardians of the Galaxy if I had to put it up. It's how you can have these two stories of the Marvel Universe that have such a powerful artistic basis behind them and definitely complement each other, but are uniquely and very different. Like being in the space of Guardians of the Galaxy and being in the space of Doctor Strange feel very different.
yeah, they're still the same universe, but it just shows the vastness of the universe that they all created together.
And it would have been less if there'd only been that one perspective. It would have been a much smaller universe, and possibly a universe we would not be as interested in.
Yeah, it took both perspectives because Kirby had a very specific aesthetic that Ditko complemented by giving us the opposite. Like Kirby was powerful, dynamic, larger than life, all great things. Like Kirby's, bar none, one of the greatest of all time.
And Ditko was so small and gave detail and gave intimacy.
Intimacy, vulnerability. Like he was so focused on the emotion and the tone. And that's not to say Kirby wasn't, but Kirby was very bombastic.
Very grandeur. It was all
very grand. It was very ornate.
Yeah, it was being overwhelmed in a temple versus a quiet moment of solace.
Okay, couldn't
I know. We're
figure
getting
out where
very
the
weird
heck
with
I saw this picture. I guess it was on Wikipedia. Sorry, I checked every introduction to be like, where was this?
I had a funny feeling that was the picture you were looking for.
Because I think it's so great. Because original, sort of like awkward, ordinary teen-looking Peter Parker, right? You know, who could be any one of us.
I'll hold it.
They'll be sorry that they laughed at me. Oh man, I missed my
Steve Ditko as a senior in high school, 1945.
Prepare.
My laptop is literally turning off. There is nothing it won't do to fight me on this.
That was amazing that just happened.
Wait, seriously?
I can pull it up. Hold
Dear
on.
Lord. Just go to Wikipedia.
I've already got it pulled up.
I'm so angry right now.
Here. It's
That's
not great,
amazing.
but
I want it side by side, but it'll do. Remember what you just saw. Peter Parker. This is Steve Ditko, senior in high school, 1945.
And
I think Chief is going to work some miracles.
look,
Yeah.
he's just a regular wallflower.
Yeah.
So-
That
Midtown
Parker
High's
kid.
only professional wallflower.
So one of my favorite.
Wow.
So I love this. So remember Stan Lee did that whole like Mary
Thank you all
Marvel.
for going with me on that
No,
journey.
that was. I knew exactly what you were trying to do. I was like, oh, I can't wait for Amy to pull this one off, and you did. One of my favorite things about early or late '60s Marvel is Stan Lee has now realized what they've got with their bullpen and their comics, and the fact that college kids and high school kids are like they're starting to kind of change the demographic of who's reading comics very slowly. As those crazy college kids love on psychedelic Doctor Strange.
They write a ton about it in the letter pages of the time. They're so honored by the fact that, like, you know, people are starting to take them seriously and write interesting. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, so he creates the Merry Marvel Marching Society, and as part of this thing, he makes a record. Come along, come along, come along, you belong to the Merry Marvel Marching Society. Like, so you've got that. And then later in that record, you have him interviewing the entire bullpen.
Where is this?
It's on YouTube. I wanted to try and pull it for the show, but I was afraid we'd get like flagged for copyright.
We don't know what's legal.
But I have it on my computer. When we get done here, I'll let you listen to it. It's a record. I've always wanted a copy. If anyone has a copy like of the actual record, I want it. I'll pay you for it.
It's probably a soft disc too. It's one of the floppy ones.
Yeah, probably so. But I've always wanted like an original, actual run from the late '60s. It's like a dream item of mine.
So the super cheap records were floppy because actually a record is a piece of plastic they glue. They used to glue the vinyl to the front and back of. Like there was a cheap way to make records that was just glued to a piece of plastic. So like you wouldn't glue it. You would just put it in a
floppy flop
mail and be like.
So on this record, it's
cheap.
Stan Lee's like, well, hi there, kids. Thanks for being a part of the Merry Marvel Marching Society. I thought I'd give us a tour of the bullpen. Oh, hey, who's this? Why, it's Jack the King Kirby. Oh, hello, Stan Lee. What are you doing? And the two of them have a conversation. Then he's like, oh, my God, is that one of my other editors, Saul Brodsky? Come over here, Saul. He talks to Flo. He talks to everyone. And then you hear some commotion in the background. And he's like, well, what was that? And Saul Brodsky's like, oh, well, that's shy Steve Ditko. He didn't want to be on the record, so he jumped out the window. And he goes, I swear to God, I think that kid actually might be Spider-Man some of these days.
Steve Ditko was so shy and terrified of being heard or doing anything like that, even on a record where his editor-in-chief comes to him and says, hey, we're doing a fucking record. Steve Ditko's like, I'm not going to be anywhere close to that. So they made a joke about him not being on it, like he jumped out the window.
That's
like,
amazing.
Wow.
Like, even when he's at the top of his game, hyper successful for that day, artist, nope, I don't want to be on your record. I don't want to be heard. Well, you know, Jack Kirby's doing it. Don't care. Don't care. John Romita, he's going to do. All right, let him talk. That's cool. Whatever.
Is John Romita on the record? Maybe. I will look.
He might. I know Saul Brodsky. I know Flo, Kirby, obviously Stan Lee, because Stan Lee. But yeah, he wouldn't do it.
I don't know if we, just a side note, I'm not sure if we ever told people that all this discussion we've had of Charlton, Ditko would go on to work with them for basically 40 years. And you know their names because a bunch of the characters that they had sort of eventually in their stable when they got back into superheroes and things got bought up by other companies like, for example, DC, who bought the Charlton characters, incorporated them.
The Charlton superhero, specifically the Charlton superhero.
Yeah, a subset of the Charlton characters. And you know them as Blue Beetle, for instance, The Question, for instance. And Captain Atom, and you know a number of their sort of counterparts as the characters of Watchmen. The various Minutemen were all based on takeoffs of the Charlton characters. In the 50s, like, superheroes hadn't made their comeback yet, which is why all the stuff we were talking about was the horror and Western and other stuff. But just like everybody else, Charlton was never above doing whatever was selling really well. So, of course, the superhero books came.
And Marvel did the same thing.
Yeah, that was like, how comics worked.
Like, that was just how, like, DC was kind of the only...
I hear donuts are hot, let's do donuts!
Yeah, like, DC and EC were the bigger leaders. It was like, whatever they're doing, we're just going to copy it. Superman? Done. Superheroes. EC, whoa, horror selling? Cool, horror. You know, but... Charlton was never a leader. Marvel wasn't a leader until Fantastic Four. Like they were steady, but they were never a leader. They weren't setting the stage. They were chasing. They were following until Fantastic Four.
Until Fantastic Four.
Marvel's
and then
first
everything.
family. Who, by the way, are back.
By the way,
today.
just came back.
Fantastic Four #1 came out today.
It's a good read.
Is it?
It's going to be unsatisfyingly short. I will tell you that you will get to the end of it and be like, I need more. This was not enough.
But is it that beautiful, beautiful Sarah Pichelli?
There are some stuff that will happen in that book that will make you. It's the best characterization of the Thing and Johnny Storm I've seen in a very long time.
Nice.
Like as like friends who are always kind of like slapping each other.
No, yes, but like as people who are having a rough time of it, but are still very much themselves. It's a very low key, that first issue. There's a good backup story about Doctor Doom if you're wondering how Doom's getting on, which is exciting.
Which I am.
But it's very much how is Johnny and Thing handling there not being a Fantastic Four? And the answer to that is not well, both in their very unique ways. And it's kind of allowing them to resolve their feelings about this whole long stint we've had. We haven't had the Fantastic Four in a very long time.
Yeah.
And it's kind of them resolving their issues about that. It's very heartfelt, and it made me a little teary this morning. Possibly because I also haven't slept in like forever. Gen Con, and then and Gen Con and Art Book. Art Book also ate my life, so I can talk about that.
Yeah, you can say that now.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh, I want to die. So tired, but that's why I was tweeting at people last night at like 4 a.m.
Oh, I gotta go read your 4 a.m. tweets.
Oh, it's bad. It's mostly me telling Erica to go to sleep.
I do want to briefly say again on Doctor Strange, because I have an excuse to do it. I'm allowed to talk Doctor Strange without getting screamed at. We all know you like Doctor Strange. I know you know that.
Screaming at you.
I don't know. It's my own.
Now I want to see a Ditko picture of Matt, but it's like the
on the side
heads of people screaming at him.
And like actually doing the like. Why do you like Doctor Strange so much?
Why are you still talking about Doctor Strange?
And then it like zooms in on my eyes, like my one eye. It's like, oh.
They represent the internet.
Yeah, there you go.
That was great. Well done, guys.
Yeah, we thought we'd give you some.
There are some comic book historians who believe that the very first graphic, like hyper serialized story, is the Eternity Saga. The Eternity Saga, I believe, was Strange Tales 130 through 144. It's in that area. And again, these are only like 10-page stories in the back of the Strange Tales, which are usually also Nick Fury of S.H.I.E.L.D. for the first 12. And it tells the story of Baron Mordo's now been defeated multiple times by Doctor Strange. Dormammu was introduced in Strange Tales 126 or 127 or thereabouts. And the end of the Doctor Strange movie is actually kind of what happened at the end of the two issue 127. Is it 126 and 127? It's either 126 and 127 or 127 and 128. And at the end of that issue, Doctor Strange is able to trick Dormammu and says, "I've won. You're not allowed in my dimension. You can exist. I'm not going to destroy you because I can't. But you're not allowed in my dimension because if you ever set foot here again, this magical bond that I have with you, you'll die. Like, so don't come here." So Dormammu's super pissed at Doctor Strange for just for the reason that he got beat.
For the slight.
And Baron Mordo wants revenge and wants to be the Ancient One and wants to be the Sorcerer Supreme and believes that he should. So Dormammu contacts Baron Mordo and says, "I cannot enter your dimension, but I can send my power to you. I can make you more powerful than Doctor Strange, but when you kill him and I'm allowed to enter your dimension, you have to let me. And that's the trade-off. I'll let you keep Earth, whatever. I just need to be able to enter your dimension, so make that happen." So they team up. Two of Doctor Strange's most powerful characters, or villains, antagonists, team up against him. And in that story, Doctor Strange has no idea how to defeat either one of them while they're working together. The Ancient One is taken out at the very beginning, so now his prime source of advice and inspiration is gone. So now it's like Doctor Strange, for the very first time in his entire comic book history, working completely independent of the Ancient One, figuring all this shit out on his own, as he's being chased by Baron Mordo, and they have like this magical spell over the entire Earth that the second he uses magic, they all know how to go find him. So he's not able to really use magic except his astral form, because that's the only thing that can't be detected. And he just keeps hearing whispers of, "Eternity knows the answers, eternity knows the answers." And he's like, "What does that mean? What does that mean?" And he's finally able to find a way to get to eternity. And this is the whole reason I want to.
Man, can you imagine if we got to see eternity in a film? By the way, I'm just
I
putting
can't
that out
wait.
there.
I am putting it out there that the Eternity Saga will be the next movie. Like, I really like, because think about it, like, you see Dormammu. He tricked him. "Stay out of my domain, Dormammu." Like, that's Strange Tales 127 where that happens. You've seen that. Baron Mordo's ready to take on the Ancient One and become the Ancient One and the Master of the Mystic Arts, the Prime Sorcerer
Baron
Supreme.
Mordo's now I think he's a mindless one now. Well, we'll see. I guess.
Oh no, you're talking about Caecilius.
Oh yeah, Caecilius. I'm sorry, you're right. Mordo.
Caecilius, by the way, also introduced in the Eternity Saga, if I remember correctly, because the Sanctum has only been invaded during Ditko's run once, and it was during the Eternity Saga. And Baron Mordo sent Caecilius and two other cronies. Caecilius has only appeared in like 3 comics ever until the movie. So like when they were like, "Caecilius is the villain," I was like, "What? That makes zero sense." Scott Derrickson, what are you doing? But this, I think,
I have never noticed that his initials are backwards of Doctor Strange.
Oh.
He should sign everything Derrickson, Scott.
Oh my God, you're right.
Okay, keep going.
But this is where we get this classic. This is like one of the most classic images of Doctor Strange.
Yes.
Oh, this is
I
him.
love it so much.
This is Doctor Strange entering Eternity's dimension. And you see this in the movie. Like, you see variations of, like, translations of this in the movie. But this is classic Ditko. And you saw elements of this in that 1956 story where the little girl was going into the mirror, and then the dad and the chauffeur went into the mirror. Like, I mean, and you've seen it all over, like he went to the Nightmare Dimension, even in Strange Tales 110. Like, it's all over Doctor Strange, him going to other dimensions. But this classic image comes from this run, and it's considered by some historians to be the first actual, like, graphic novel story.
This is the thing I'd love to propose for future, like all the various candidates for first graphic novel. I want to read Eisner's Contract with God. I want to read that Matt Baker book they talk about in 10 Cent Plague. I want to read Panther's Rage, or whatever one that is, and this, and like just do all the side-by-sides of like the various claimants to the title.
Really
That'd be fun.
Yeah. Here he uses the Eye of Agamotto to enter
Oh, God, look at that.
Eternity should fail.
And like on the top of a mountaintop, this is like, that's a theme that we see in Ditko a lot, like early Ditko, like that was all over the place, so like 56 and 57.
God, what a splash. That's just beautiful.
And like just look, so here's the opening page, right? So, you know, shield, whatever. Ooh, look at this, what's going on here? And you get, again, classic Ditko, 3 panels on the first page. But,
Right into that.
So
but
beautiful.
here's what's interesting. This is an absolute subversion of his form. Because usually it goes 3 panels here into panel close-up that's mostly emotional up here. Maybe a second panel that pulls out, a third panel here. You get 2 or 3 other panels down here.
We're very distant in all of this. We are observing from the outside.
Like Ditko is playing with his own form here because.
Oh, we're so far away from everything.
But why are you so far away from everything? Because you're in an immense,
The way
massive
the silhouette coalesces at
dimension.
the end of this page.
Yeah, because then splash.
Boom.
Like how fucking good is he?
He's real good at comics.
Like he's the master. Like it's
Comics very well. He comics,
he comics very
well.
well. And here's what's funny is that this is Strange Tales 138 for I think it's 138. Yeah, 138, which I bought at House of Secrets. Thank you.
You'll be pleased to know, by the way, that the chat. So many things have been happening in chat, including Jody Hauser bringing some of these conversations into more interesting and acute levels, which I've been really enjoying.
Oh,
and
tell us.
Of course, they found the record. So.
No, they didn't.
They
like
did.
the actual record. How much is it? I want to know.
I have an eBay link that we will look at later.
Yes. I want it. I want to buy it. I'll buy it now.
What? Not
Yeah, all right. Maybe I won't buy it now. Burning Man is in a few
Your
weeks.
birthday's coming up.
I'll be in New York for my birthday.
Oh,
Super
well,
excited.
that's exciting. I'm not going to tell him how much that is, but that's good to know.
What?
Thanks, guys.
No, tell me. Tell me.
Uh,
Tell me. I want to know.
no, because then you'll try and buy it, and then we can't get it for you.
Oh, you're silly. You silly. If we had it, we could listen to it at Matt Marisha's. They have a record player. It'd be so
No, I
fun.
have a record player.
Oh, that's right. You do have a record player.
I do. I love it. It's
Look
the
at that.
greatest.
I do.
I do.
That was like a
I
whole
do.
Hollywood-
I do.
Just a little
I
old
do.
this record
Right
player?
there.
This whole thing? This whole little record player?
Miss Sunflower was wondering if
Hi, Miss Sunflower. I met you at Gen Con, and you're a delight.
Yes.
I was trying to be nonchalant about it, but never
Accurate.
mind.
She was a
We're
delight.
extremely chalant.
we're-
Have you met us?
we are the lads.
Chalant. We are extremely chalant.
So chalant.
Were you? I can't get a word out.
Oh, so
Why?
chalant.
We're going to talk over you. I'm getting this question out.
Miss
Making me
Sunflower.
laugh. Stop making me. Oh no. She was wondering.
Known Daisy icon.
Known Daisy. Did you start with Doctor Strange, or did you read original Doctor Strange or Spider-Man first? What was your first exposure?
Spider-Man was probably first, but
Ditto for me.
New Doctor Strange, then old Spidey, then old Doctor Strange, probably for you, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, I read Spider-Man before I ever read Doctor Strange.
Really?
I was introduced to Doctor Strange via the trading cards.
Okay, I thought he showed up in Infinity.
He was in Infinity War. He was in
Okay.
Infinity War.
He was
and
like,
he was
hello, Matt
cool.
Spray, and I live here now.
But I was still a little like, oh, but he's a sorcerer, so maybe I should stay away. And then when I saw the card, and like the card has his origin story as surgeon who lost his hands and became a sorcerer, the little science.
Lost precise use of his hands.
Yeah, my little science brain, because I at that time I wanted to be a nuclear physicist.
Really?
Yeah, at that age, I was like, I'm going to be a nuclear physicist. That's what I want to be. I would have, like 12, I guess. And I read, so man of science over here, but also a man of religion and study, like occult, mythology, all that stuff was like the other side. So I read that, I was like, oh, so he's kind of like me. That intrigues me. I want to read his comics now. And then that's when I went and found like Secret Defenders and started like Midnight Suns and like started reading those things. And then I found like Strange Tales 2, which had a Cloak and Dagger at the front, and then he was the backup story in the back. So that's when I started getting into early 90s Doctor Strange. Then I went back and discovered the Ditko stuff and was like, this is great. I like this. So.
Some other interesting questions was, do you think that Ditko being so reclusive helped his work stand on its own instead of on his name? I think whatever.
That's interesting.
I think whatever works for you, because I think it helped him. I don't think it's necessarily a guidebook. I know plenty of artists who do well because they are deeply into the communication with their audience on that level.
Yeah.
And some people are better. Everyone works differently. I would say that's the joy of finding these geniuses. Is there's no surefire way to make a genius. Genius is always on a certain level alchemical. It requires pixie dust.
Yeah.
And if that pixie dust is leave me alone, that's
leave me
great,
alone.
and it's done its job. And if that pixie dust is I need to look my audience in the eye, then.
Like it seems like both Kirby and Lee were the exact opposite of Ditko, and Ditko could not have been happier because it was essentially like they're the flashbang Captain America, but he's Bucky in the background setting munitions. As told by.
According to some modern interpretations of the relationship between Captain and Bucky, where Bucky was more of the secret agent.
I like the Brubaker. It's fun to say his name. It's hard but fun. Brubaker.
That would be another fun episode, like retcons that worked and retcons that didn't.
How to retcon.
Yeah. How do one retcon?
The art of retcon.
Yeah.
We could like put it out and then change the title after the episode comes out.
Oh!
Boom, like that.
Retroactive continuity.
Retroactive continuity changes.
I've
you were
told you
wondering.
all about my favorite article on retcons, right?
No.
Where they break them down like with a hurricane chart.
Yes, and it's amazing.
Yeah, category 1 retcon, category 2 retcon, category 3 retcon.
We have to. Okay, for no other reason that I want to talk about the Sentry for at least half an hour, I think this is a great idea. And Jessica Jones.
Thank you to Eric.
We have the whole
And
episode.
Jessica Jones.
Amazing
We do
author
talk
of that
about
article.
Sentry, talk about Jessica Jones, talk about
Brubaker's Winter Soldier.
or God, the Warren Ellis extremist book for Tony Stark for just that little
Oh yes.
that little gentle massaging of the story that it made him work for the movies.
Yeah. No Surrender had kind of some weird retcon that turned out to not be retcon at all.
So we should note that Ditko did all this incredible work at Marvel in the 60s, ended up leaving Marvel, but kept working and making comics literally for the rest of his life.
Yeah.
Some at big companies and some self-published or independent or literally publishing stories in fanzines. Just kept making comics.
That's what he loved.
Yeah.
And that's one of the reasons I personally love him as much as I do, is that he was like, this is what I love, this is what I want to do, and this is what I'm going to do.
And he found a way to do it.
And he found a way to do it no matter what.
Forever.
So I do have, like, I think, if I remember correctly, he created Hawk and Dove, correct? Yes?
I believe he did.
I think he
believe
did.
so.
Hawk and Dove, I personally, not a giant fan of.
I find the aesthetics of the characters very interesting. I'm not necessarily a big fan of a lot that's been done with them.
I dig them. I met them in one of Gail Simone's Birds of Prey runs.
No, like
and
the current.
they're fantastic. They're DC characters. They represent basically like originally they were brothers, right? They were brothers, and like
Hank
one of
and
them
Don.
solved problems. Hank and Don, Hawk and Dove, sure. Hank Hall, Don Hall. What's
No,
the last
Hank
name?
Hall.
Oh, those
Hank
are
Hall was
those
another
are the
one.
That's Hawkman. I can't remember the last name.
It's
Boy,
Carter
that's
Hall.
a whole-
Okay.
Oh,
yeah.
Carter Hall, yeah.
Anyway, Hawk and Dove, one fights, one doesn't fight. It's the 60s. Pacifism's a thing. The idea of contrasting superheroes, one who fights and one who doesn't fight, but basically has sort of violence avoiding abilities that come through with his
Aggressive
situation manipulation.
But what's funny, have you read like the first few issues of Hawk and Dove with Ditko's hand?
I don't believe I have.
I haven't either.
What are they like?
Well, Hawk is hyper aggressive and beats the snot out of everybody.
Yep, sure.
And Dove is in the background going, "Oh, please don't do that. Oh, that's bad. No, violence is not the answer." And it's like, why are you dressed like a superhero? What are you doing? And like, finally, after 3 or 4 issues of Hawk and Dove, Dove gets into a scrap, and Dove and Hawk is in the background. Hit him! And Dove is like, I can't. I've got to prove that violence isn't the answer. And he's getting the snot beat out of him. And he finally finds a way to pull the guy's shirt over his head and push him to the ground.
Classic.
And Hawk's like,
you finally did something. And it's like, that's not a superhero. Like, give him like pacifist powers or like, give him something. Like, what are you doing?
Is it bad that I love it more now?
I kind of love it more. It's kind
Like,
of
it's just-
Oh, wait a minute. That's not. Look at us. We become costumed heroes.
What
How
kind
do you
of
like that?
stupid costume is this? I don't want a costume. Oh my God. I also want to say that Manzi got to work on the costumes for the Teen Titans.
Oh, but look, it's the half and half faces.
Yeah.
That's a classic Steve
Yep.
Ditko half and half.
Looks like he was punching someone in the groin, though.
Yeah, it does. And Manzi is very, very proud of the dove cape.
Oh, no. And like, no, the dove cape is beautiful, but that's
very
not what we have here. This
No,
is
we're
like,
looking at.
In the 60s, rush into conflict or avoid conflict, as weirdly simplified in the form of these characters, like it's. I really want to do I need to go back and read these in the context of the very
period.
like the very active discussions happening in the late 60s
those
on
characters-
pacifism and war.
Okay, I'm happy to go back and read those characters because I've seen them work before, but oftentimes they very rarely do for me.
But I want to know, like, what was he intending? Do we think he achieved it? What do we think of that?
Oh my God, are we doing art criticism on Hawk and so excited.
Chief, I think that there is something in there, Hawk and Dove, maybe objectivism or Ayn Rand.
We're also getting to
Was
the
there a
point.
top half of that? Is that something
No,
more
there's a quote from their father, who's a judge,
Okay.
that I feel
God.
like summarizes what he's actually trying to do with the comic. But I can't remember what I titled it, Chief. I'm really, really sorry. But like you can see here, like, we have the power to break out of here, the power to stop those creeps who are after Dad, the power to smash them. Yes, it shall be yours, but no, not quite. I want to say, Father, it's like there's just a constant back and forth. But Dove, like in comic book form, the way that they were handling. Here we go. The fact is, you knowingly committed a crime. Now you shall receive just punishment. The damage done to the innocent cannot be wiped away by how you feel. You don't deserve favors or special consideration. The ruling stands.
That is some hair right there.
Yeah, right? But it's like I feel like that's very like Ditko philosophy. It's like, nope, black and white, Mr. A. Like,
So who was
you
Mr.
did right.
A?
I actually have never read.
Okay, none of us have read Mr. A.
No,
Chief, you're having so much fun with that. I couldn't find, like, I had a hard time.
I wonder if anyone has done a good reprint of it. Mr. A is one of the first independent characters created by Steve Ditko. It's described a lot in things about Ditko, but none of us have ever read
I have
any of
not
it.
read any of it, I will admit.
It was
Yeah,
an
I have to admit, like, I haven't. I'm not going to pretend.
superhero character that reflected the philosophies that were coming to the sort of become dominant in Ditko's life. And he created a character all on his own that reflected that, and that character was Mr. A. And we will have to return to it at a future time.
We will probably dig into. Yeah, I will find that. And
Yeah, we've gotta find it.
I do say we do have a question if we're up for that.
Our topic or a
It
question?
is time for a topic, I think. No, I wanted to beat you to this one. Aha, aha.
Do we have a 5-minute topic?
I don't know, do we?
We have a 5.
Tell me.
Do you want to?
Oh, right. 3, 2, 1. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Wednesday Club. You can watch us every single Wednesday night at 7 o'clock on the Geek and Sundry Twitch channel or on projectalpha.com. We are doing our 5-minute one-shot, 5-minute topic, and the topic is...
Our topic for today comes from _T-Boyce.
Hey,
And the
that's-
topic-
T-Boys!
A superhero / supervillain, I think it's one or the other or both, probably both, is running for public office. Who is the best / worst candidate, and what is their campaign like? 5 minutes on the clock.
All right, I'm going to go goofy with this for the sake of my sanity. Best Wonder Woman.
Well, that's...
Yeah.
Although I'm going to say, really quickly, Lex Luthor has not only run for, but actually became president of the United States.
Yeah.
Loki has run for president, I believe, several times, and that's an amazing read. Dazzler was president of the United States.
But it was a future.
In
We
a
don't know
future
what her
timeline.
campaign was like.
No, but we can imagine it was a lot of sparkle.
I bet it was fabulous.
There's an alternate dimension Superman who was possibly Barack Obama.
Yeah.
Where Superman was president of the United States. There's been a lot of superhero president of the United States runs. Let's think of a good mayor maybe. Like who would be like a mayor?
Good mayor?
Yeah. Let's get a good mayoral.
Oliver Queen, because he's been mayor.
He was mayor.
He was mayor.
That's fair. Mayor
Really
Oliver
young
Queen.
to be mayor.
Yeah, a little young, but hey, that's okay.
Actually, you know who I'd like to run for mayor? Wildcat. Wildcat of the Justice Society of America.
Ted Grant?
Ted Grant, the retired boxer turned superhero whose power is that he's wearing a fur suit. He is.
I want to see which of Catwoman's better and worse impulses would govern her if she had to run Gotham for a while.
Great. She would be. That would be a great.
She would do like a kind of a great job in spite of herself. You know what I mean?
Would the Riddler be a good mayor of Gotham?
No, God, what?
No,
I mean,
but
that
that's
would be
a great.
amazing
That's
to
a great.
watch.
I would read that.
I would, yeah, right? Like, that would be an interesting story.
Riddler? That's the things. Vote
Question
Riddler?
Why ask questions? Vote Nigma. Yeah.
Ah.
I'm into that. That's a good villain run. Would be like just him running for office, even.
Yeah.
Inevitably losing, but that would be a great. That would be a great run.
More good and terrible options.
I know. I wanna
Tony
go-
Stark should never hold public office.
No.
But
That's
he
a bad
ran
idea.
Shield. It was terrible.
I think that like the easy answer is Captain America, but I don't. I
He
think
very
that
specifically doesn't though.
he doesn't. It like he would. I don't think he would be good.
No,
like,
and he
I think that would he would lose his power. Like he would cease to be Captain America because he would be America. Like
Yeah.
you
I
know, like
think that he like in. It is a very good thing that he doesn't seek the power. It's a very sort of old Roman like citizen soldier kind of like if called upon maybe he would just try to do his best, but it would be a lot of that like is about whether you can listen to the smart advisors around you. And while I think Captain America would probably have good taste in advisors and that would be a point in his favor, I still think like it's a good thing that he considers his role separate from that.
I think I have one, and I
What
think
is
you specifically are going to love my answer. Beast for president. Hank McCoy.
And
President McCoy. President McCoy.
I mean-
he's smart. He's literate. He's
blue.
he's
Empathetic
blue.
at a deep
he's
level.
empathetic at a deep level. He makes some pretty big mistakes.
He does.
He would need a very strong advisory board.
He'd be on the phone with Storm every day being like, is this a terrible idea? And she'd be like, yes. And he'd be like, doing it anyway.
Storm could be a pretty good president.
She's been a monarch.
Well, and she's been a
She's
monarch.
got
True.
this.
True.
You could also run on the real McCoy, which is pretty. I know. I'm sorry. I'm gonna keep doing this.
Oh my God.
Doing this.
Oh my God.
Who would be awful?
Namor.
Oh my God. Namor all day would be the worst.
They'd be like, why should we vote for you, Namor? And he's like, I'm insulted by the question.
Look at my abs.
I have the abs of King.
Oh, damn. Sue
Kingly
Storm would be
abs.
great, too.
Who?
Sue Storm would be
Sue
great.
Storm
Oh,
would be
Sue
great.
Storm.
She'd
would be
rather
great.
deal with her own business and Fantastic Four stuff and family stuff than be leader of the free world, but she could do it.
She could do it.
I think Luke Cage would be a good mayor.
Luke Cage would be a good mayor.
I think he'd be a
He'd
good
hate
mayor.
it, but he'd be
Oh, he'd hate it, but he would do it.
I would
be
do
like,
that.
I've got to be the mayor of Harlem. All right.
Yeah. No. He
No,
could,
more bad choices. More bad. Who's too irresponsible? Who's too easily
I
distracted?
mean, Speedball, but
Speedball
like, are
is
we
Oh,
gonna
man.
go
who
there.
I was thinking of.
Since that's another Ditko creation.
Slapstick.
Yeah.
Squirrel Girl might.
Squirrel Girl would actually be a really. I think.
I think she'd be a pretty good mayor.
like
she'd be
a
a
cool
good mayor.
alternate universe Squirrel Girl in her 50s that's just like running
Yeah.
things. I'd be so into.
Yeah.
I'd be into
I would
that.
Read that book.
Not Doctor Doom. I mean, he's already the
monarch.
leader.
He's another monarch.
Same with Black Panther. T'Challa's already a monarch.
Already a monarch in a damn.
Yeah, he's a great one.
Hawkeye would be terrible.
Hawkeye.
Hawkeye
would be real
I don't
terrible.
even know how you would get to the point where you allowed Hawkeye.
You know who else would be horrible? The Hulk, Bruce Banner. He would be terrible. Like, can you imagine? Like, here's your intelligence briefing today, Mr. President. What happened? It's like, oh, there goes the White House
We need
again.
another new table. Another new table. in the East Room.
All right.
Two.
Did we answer that?
I feel
did we
like
answer?
I feel like we did answer.
We gave a lot of answers, T-boys. I hope we.
Riddler?
The real McCoy.
Question mark on that, no matter what.
More worst? Oh, you want us to give you more worst? Santa list?
Yeah.
Broadwurst. Anyway, you've been watching the Wednesday Club 5-minute one-shot topic. We got a lot of titles for it. Wednesday nights, Geek and Sundry Twitch, ProjectAlpha.com VOD. I'm Matt Key.
I'm Amy Dallen.
I'm Taliesin Jaffe.
Thank you for the question, T-boys. All right, we've got.
Talk about more people who'd be terrible at being in public office.
Plastic Man.
Oh
Steve
my God,
Ditko
Plastic
would not
Man
want-
would be bad. Oh yeah, Steve Ditko would be like the president who no one ever photographed.
Almost every Steve Ditko character.
Liz is saying that her name is Gift Goth, not Santa.
That's fair.
That's fair. That's fair. How much time do we have
We will
left?
have more Daily Wednesdays.
We have 5 more
Have
minutes.
some more to get to.
Yeah, we have a lot. We have a few more packages. We just couldn't fit it all into today because you guys are amazing and sent us a lot of stuff.
Always shade.
I just started it.
Oh wow, yeah,
a
that's
day
right.
yesterday.
Yeah,
But
and show us. Okay, what is that book? Before you even show it, tell us what that book is because I have feelings about that book.
well, it's Shade the Changing Man, who Cecil Castellucci was writing for Young Animal.
Just wrapped up.
Took it over, and made it Shade the Changing Woman, I believe. Correct?
It went from Shade the Changing Man to Shade the Changing Girl to Shade the Changing Woman.
That's right.
But Shade the Changing Man changed quite a bit. It's a changing book.
Did I already show this off on?
You have
air,
not.
Or did I show it off
I
to you
wanted to make
guys?
sure that I
So-
To us off stream.
So this comic is from 1977. So this is.
Spectre would be a bad man.
This is who?
Oh,
Moon Knight.
Mark
Moon Knight
Spector
would be a bad man.
man.
Oh,
He was a bad
real
television
bad.
producer. That's
So
a
this
low
is
bar.
about 12 to 15 years after he created Doctor Strange. But Ditko just can't let it
help
go. He has to have windows with
Yay.
weird lines through them, and there's only 4 of them, and they intersect.
Is that literally an ad to buy a Superman paper airplane?
I don't know. You tell me.
That's an ad to buy
At
a
last,
Superman.
you can fly.
I
It's
don't.
all the superheroes, and you can shoot them with a rubber band. So I marked that with a Post-it note. So I want to close our conversation on Ditko with this. I've already spoken on it before, but it's the Ditko episode. It might be apocryphal. I don't know if it's true. But Ditko was so dedicated to writing his own stuff that when he started getting too much editorial oversight from Stan Lee, he wrote a Doctor Strange story that only he knows. And he never turned it in. He alone knows it. He wrote it for himself. And when he looked at it, he said, this one's for me. Stan Lee doesn't get to play with this one. He doesn't get to publish this one. I wrote, this one is for me. And I think that whether it's apocryphal or not, the message of that story is important, I think, for artists to remember. Don't write the art, don't draw the art, don't write the story for anyone else but you. You're your own art. You are your audience, and you have to trust that the audience will find your voice interesting. But write it for yourself. So I just wanted to close on that and say thank you to Stan Lee for I don't know.
Steve Ditko.
God, why am I doing that?
I don't know. It's just Gen Con brain.
Gen Con
I'm
brain.
only adding it for the.
Thank you.
Because it's fun.
Thank you.
It's fun. We're all broken. Aren't we all?
Yeah, I did.
You did.
Yeah.
It was a perfect moment.
It was a perfect moment until I killed it.
It
No,
continues to be
it continues to be a
perfect.
perfect moment.
Thank you, Steve Ditko, for everything.
You mean thank you, Stan Lee, for everything.
God, Taliesin!
I love you.
I love you. I love you both. But Steve Ditko, like has defined so much of what I love about comics, and just continues to be an inspiration to
And
me
by shaping
personally.
Spider-Man has pretty much changed our whole world around.
Absolutely. It was one of the most influential pieces of pop culture in the 20th century, and here it is.
Yep.
We are starting to come together. I'm trying to think. We haven't just figured out what we're doing next week yet.
We need to have one of those meetings.
Yeah, we need to have one of those meetings and figure that out for the next
Sorry, Liz.
a couple months.
Meeting after the show.
We are
Yeah.
not because we have another show.
That's
What is that other show?
It's gonna be Weave.
Oh, how interesting.
And that will be very exciting. We are back at our Goblins Are Jerks, and we will see you for undisclosed topic next week on the Wednesday Club. Thank you again to everybody who said hi at Gen Con. It was such a blast.
Love you all.
And I've got a good one. Take care of yourself and work on your art.
Yeah. Steve Ditko.
You're just trying to end on Steve Ditko.
Steve Ditko.
There we go.